get a roll call, please?
Mr. Andres?
Here.
Mr. Bickerton?
Here.
Mr. Velo?
Present.
Ms. Good is absent. Mr. Heinman?
Present.
Ms. Lawrence-Jeske? Present. Ms. McKean? Present. Mr. Snowden?
Here.
Ms. Stettler?
Here.
Mayor Hamilton?
Present.
Chief Madgar? Solicitor Fidelis?
Here. I need an action to approve the November 25th, 2025 work session minutes. Thank you. Can I get a second for that? Thank you, Whit. Okay. Any questions or concerns? All right, moving forward to vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Action carries. All right, treasurer's report.
As every month, it's where we want it to be. Roughly seven, I have it in front of about seven or 600 forward from last November
Yep.
to this November. So
Yep, I
turning
think,
in the right way.
yeah, I think now's a good time maybe for me to say what I wanted to say. So, when we go through the finance, conversation, we can talk about it, but, as we were going through the treasurer's report for 2025, some really great, benchmarks have been achieved. I want to call out specifically that our budgeted police overtime we were budgeted at about 360. We are at 363, and that is a fantastic achievement. That actually puts us in a very positive place because we also have reimbursements coming in from all of the events that the police department has worked this year, whether it be the Netflix movie, all of the sports events, Whippy Old sports events, the carnival, etc. So we're actually when that's taken into account, we're in a positive police overtime of $66,000 to date, and I want to shout out Kenny McCoy and Bob Applegarth for your very, very wise and thoughtful decision-making and scheduling on how you're handling all that. Thank you very much. It's a massive change from where we were a year ago. This also is with one new hire, not the two that we talked about. Had we hired the second, we would actually be in a positive without the reimbursement, so we would be even further ahead. So thank you for that.
And to add to that too, our part-time police officers is half of what we budgeted, our expense for part-timers. So again, kudos to scheduling and the full-time hire.
Yep, exactly. So we were budgeted at 189, and we've only spent about 99. So fantastic work there, guys. Thank you very much. That's it.
Any questions, comments? All right, thank you too for the work that you've done. Thank you. All right, I need to review invoices and authorization to pay the bills. Yes, Amy, thank you. I'll give a second for that. All right, thank you. Do we have any questions or concerns? All right, moving forward with the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Action carries. So what we're going to do right now before public participation, we're going to move up motion number 3, which is the promotion of Officer Robert Tyrion. Mr. Bickerton.
Move the Beaver Borough Council to promote Robert Tyrion of Beaver Borough Police Department to corporal, effective January 1st, 2026.
Can I get a second for that motion, please? Todd. All right. Any questions, comments? Any questions or comments? Okay. Moving forward with the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. That motion carries.
Good, Rob, come on up front here. Just as we did with the other two corporals, Rob's. Hold on, Laura, hurry up. Great honor to have you in that honor, Rob. It's well deserved. If you can reach that high. Well, thank you.
Rob's been an officer here since 1998. So you're
Oh, thank you.
Okay, and then the next item that we're going to address right now is the recognition of Mayor Tom Hamilton. So, Mayor, if you could join me up front here. So today we're going to honor our mayor. It will be his last council meeting as mayor. And the plaque reads, in honor of Mayor Thomas Hamilton, Borough of Beaver, 2004 to 2025. In grateful recognition of 21 years of dedicated service to the Borough of Beaver, your leadership, passion for historic preservation, and unwavering commitment to public safety have strengthened our community and preserved its cherished character. Your impact will be felt for generations. True leadership is a measurement in service, integrity, and the legacy left behind.
I just want to thank everybody. It's been a great run. We have a great community, and it's been a pleasure to be involved. Thank you.
Okay. Moving on with public participation. Anyone from the public? Whoop.
I just want to say a couple things about Mayor Hamilton. Wrote it down on, hope you don't mind me reading it. Chicago running back Gale Sarah's autobiography is titled I Am Third, portraying his belief in putting God first, other people and then himself third. I'm an Eagle Scout, and Scouts also follow that same philosophy. Scouts also follow that same philosophy of duty to God and country, duty to other people, and then duty to self. I imagine most of us sitting around this table share that belief, and that is what has compelled us to community service. But no one exemplifies putting other people first and commitment to community better than our Mayor, Tom Hamilton. When I first moved to Beaver, Tom was one of the first to welcome me here. Not in his capacity as mayor, but as neighbor. And as a neighbor, he has been a neighbor in every essence of the word. I have borrowed his power washer. He and his brother Jeff have jumped my car on occasion. One election, a few of my friends, unbeknown to me, wrote me in as mayor. I got 6 votes. The next day, Tommy's mother was at my front door with a plate of chocolate chip cookies. As a peace offering, I had no idea it even happened, and she was already making amends. Tom and I are in different political parties, but we agree on most things. And when we didn't, Tom would always make his opposition known. Well known. But we still respected each other and didn't let it affect our relationship. That's the way politics is supposed to work. And even though we're from different political parties, we always pulled together. We always pulled for each other. And in fact, I ran unopposed in 2 elections. I don't know this for sure, but I think Tom might have had some influence in that process and protecting my seat on council. Early in my political journey, I did lose one election, and more recently, I lost the presidency of council. I know we're not supposed to take politics personally, but I can tell you from personal experience, it hurts. And I know the results of this election have affected Tom too. We have endured some trying times. There was the passing of his mother, and a time when my brother was missing, resulting in an unfortunate conclusion. We have laid to rest many of our colleagues, including John Petras, Bob Roberts, Paul McDermott, Dan Cedar, and Joe Zagorski. But the good memories outweigh the bad. I've seen Tommy at countless community events, wherever it was, festivals, concerts, parades. Tommy was always there, and Mitch too. From 9/11 ceremonies, Memorial Day parades, and picnics at the Fort McIntosh Club, from wine festivals, light-up nights, concerts in parks, concerts in the park, and concerts at the new pool house. From Arbor Day, Garrison Days, St. Practice Days, Fort McIntosh Days, and various other days, it has been my pleasure to have your presence at these events, and it has been my privilege to stand next to you as a representative of this community. I have been doing this for some time. I have seen several council members, plenty of council presidents, many managers, and a couple engineers and solicitors. But I've only ever known one mayor. And it is my great honor to call you my mayor, but a greater honor to call you my neighbor, and my greatest honor to call you my friend. So thank you, my friend, for your service to this community.
With public participation, if you'd like to speak, please stand, state your name, ward you reside in, and you have 3 minutes. So, please, yes, Mrs. Sutton.
Mitch Sefton, I live in Ward 3. I too have known Tom for a very long time, long before he was mayor. I met him, he was on council, and he's worked his way up, and I'm very proud to call him my friend. We will miss you. I also would like to thank Beaver Borough, the the workers over the hill, the road crew, and the police department for the Veterans Day parade and festivities from last week. It's the least we can do for those people. They have given, in many cases, their lives, for their health, and least of all their time, to make this town, this state, this country, what it is. And that's a very small thing that we can do to provide an event for them. And I thank all of you for doing that for them, all of you.
I don't live in the ward, but I'm here a lot of times. Ron Nordic, I just come up to say a few words before I go to work. To thank Tom. I've had a good relationship on behalf of Vanport as president of council. I've had a good relationship. Everybody says like Vanport, Beaver, Bridgewater, Brightown. I think we're all one. So we do shared services. All I got to do is call Tom. I've been on council 30 years. I know I've had hair, but I've been on it 30 years. And Tom, you've been here 20, 21?
My hair wasn't great.
Yeah. We've had a good relationship. I either call Tom on different things. We sat on different committees. We've had a good relationship. We're all one. If I call Chief Magar on something if I need, he does the same to me. And I just thought it was appropriate. I hate to see him go. Don't step out of the limelight because you are a big influence here in Beaver. And I'd say the same in Vanport. I'm not a mayor, but we don't have one. But if we did, you would be our guy. Right? I'm just saying. But we have a good relationship. We sit on a committee now together. We have a good relationship there. But I just want to take a few minutes before I go to work. I work midnights just to say a few words. And thank you for what you've done to Beaver and Vanport. So thanks, Tom. I just want to say, Let's stay out of the limelight.
Okay, any others from the public? Yes, please.
Alice Bartley, Ward 3. I have a few things. First, I wanted to thank the borough and the borough workers. I do sit on the board of the Shaw Park project, and I wanted to thank them for installing the new sign down in Shaw Park. It went up today, so you kind of seen it stuck down. It looks great. They did a great job. So thank you to them. Second, I want to thank Alex. Alex is our council liaison. on the committee with us, and his term is ending with the council, so I hope to continue to see Alex at those meetings. And I just wanted to thank Alex for his service and being the liaison there. And then the last thing that I wanted to address was regarding the budget. So there was some clarification on this that was posted today with the agenda, and I just wanted to just kind of express my concerns that there was line items in the budget that accounted for things that were posted before. So like specifically with the borough manager line item, there was a large increase in the budget which was posted ahead of the position that is being proposed to be added. And so I just, to encourage transparency with the public, that maybe it should be the other way around, where you should maybe post the position first, and then it would make sense why that line item increases on the budget. And that's it for me.
Any others?
Any response?
Okay, moving forward.
Okay.
Actually,
Yeah.
sure. So actually, I did want to follow Ally, Lincoln Kretschmar, Ward 1, Mayor-elect. And so if we could get a little bit of clarification on exactly what is in the budget, specifically to the point of the borough manager salary, and we have a delineation of what exactly is going to go towards the new position versus what is going to remain in the borough manager's salary, that would be great. It would really go towards transparency, and I think everybody would benefit from that conversation.
Any others?
Oh, nothing from finance? We can talk about it during the budget session.
Yes.
Ellen Kretschmar, Ward 2. I've got a few. I'll just go through them all. We can go slowly, see if there's a response to any of them. This is the third year in a row that the borough manager has broken the local law outlined in ordinance 577. Does the solicitor have a professional obligation to report to the council during the reports when the council or the borough breaks the law? And correct me if I'm wrong, is he not breaking the law?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I brought it up a couple times, so I can give you the ordinance right here. This is the third time I brought it up. So it's right here where he's supposed to give a written report with the budget.
You're talking about the job descriptions of the manager in the ordinance.
I am. Specifically, I think it's it's letter F, if you can read F out loud.
That demands the day-to-day fiscal affairs of the municipality.
It's the one about the budget with the written report.
He shall submit to council with a proposed budget, complete written report on the finances and administrative activity of the municipality.
Correct.
He's delegated that. They have a financial manager. He's on the phone right now.
Okay, where's the written statement? It literally says written statement.
There's a proposed budget that's been advertised, and I'm sure everyone at this point is aware of it.
That's not the statement. So it's supposed to describe, again, in previous years, I've shown you New Britons, where it's an actual letter that the borough manager writes and it says, these are
That's
the
New
things we
Brighton.
saw. What's that?
It's new, right?
Okay, but so you're saying he's not breaking the law, that he's meeting the responsibility by posting a P&L report for the proposed budget. Okay, just wanted that on the record. Next is the finance committee, which includes co-chair Mr. Hyman, failed to mention all along about the new borough position. And again, Ms. Good's not here, but why didn't the general government mention this all along? If we needed this new position, if it was a legit need, why was it never raised at a public meeting? I'm not sure what you think public meetings are for, but the Sunshine Act is, you're supposed to deliberate these kind of things. You're supposed to talk and let us know as a public what you are thinking, what you're planning. There's been very, very little planning. You don't have the new comprehensive plan out. But anyway, sticking to my thing, was this job advertised? Was there a job description? Were any other candidates considered? The next public meeting is going to be the reorganization meeting. I ask that you put some thought into your council president and also committee chairs.
You don't have to worry about that. I have a comment later.
Okay. Sean, I do see that your house is for sale, and I just was wondering if you were still residing in Ward 2.
I still reside.
Okay,
I still
great.
pay taxes, so yes.
Not about taxes, but you actually reside here.
I reside there.
Okay. And then my last one is, I personally cannot thank Mayor Hamilton And my involvement with him, it's been very brief, just in the past 3 years, but I've reached out to him multiple times, and he's taken no actions on any of the concerns that I've had. And he also made a false statement about me on the local radio. But I hope you the best in your future endeavors, and I also want to thank Officer, well, I guess I should say Corporal now. He was fantastic. He handled 2 of my incidents, and I can't say enough. And it's well-deserved. You should have gotten it way sooner, in my opinion. Any responses to any of those?
Nope. Okay, you have 3 minutes. Anyone? Leave it up to you. Okay. Any others? All right. We're going to move forward then. Council committees, finance.
Okay, so we are going to put our motion forward tonight for a vote on a couple of different things. So first, I'll just open it up by asking if there are any questions about the budget from my fellow council members.
So, for the tax rate next year, we're going to continue with the same tax rate as this past year, which resulted in a surplus of roughly $1 million that took care of some of the outstanding issues that we needed to take care of, whether it was starting to pay off the loan for the pool house, the slippage on the riverbank. What are we going to do with this next large chunk of money? What is
That
the
is
thinking?
a discussion that will happen at the end of Q1. So right now, we are in a fantastic position. We have $500,000 that have been moved into the capital fund. And we also have enough funds to carry us through the lean months where, you know, from past years, the the borough has cut it pretty close with being able to make payroll, including last year's situation where we had to make some fast moves with our partners in the municipal authority to be able to do that.
Right.
So the first focus of order was getting that capital fund funded and making sure our lean months are funded. The guidance I give you guys now is get through 2025, let's get through this budget. Then you'll know exactly what's happening for in Q1, and you have the list that I put forward in the budget planning process, the 5-year budget, as well as every time I've talked about the budget this year. Everything from, we've already funded repairs to this, but improvements to the streetscape, funding around the pool house loan to pay that down, funding for signage and other things at the pool house. So all of the elements that were listed out at several times to date, I think that's for the new council to decide.
Right, and part of that, as you mentioned, this 5-year plan, we're also estimating that we're going to need 2 more tax increases within the next 5 years. Everything just seems to keep going up, up, and up. And I'm just thinking, why is there no consideration of maybe, a minor tax break for our residents?
Well, the other
You
thing that
guys
we
can talk
discussed.
about that next year. That's not for right now.
It's gonna put us right back into the position we were if we do a tax.
Yeah, I mean, we had to get ourselves out of the hole, Margaret.
The other thing that we discussed, and we
We're not.
discussed it several times over, is having money in our capital fund in the event that we had a catastrophic event occur, like a hillslide. I remember one of my first years on council, we had a water line behind one of our walls that probably leaked for how long, and then it became a major issue. And again, it cost thousands of dollars to fix. With that hillslide, those things cost a lot of money.
Yes.
And, we had to move forward the way we did, and then, moving forward the way we did allow us to regain some of that and have a fund in the event that something, catastrophic happens, which hopefully doesn't happen, but it can.
That's right, and I think the borough manager will share some unexpected expenses that we're already seeing. The issue you said it correctly, the prices keep going up and up and up, everywhere. Have you been to the grocery store lately? Everywhere. Like the borough, the cost of electricity, the cost of gas, the cost of cement, the cost of every raw resource that we use as a borough to maintain So I think you can like keep going with the process we've put in place where every month ask questions, look at the treasurer's report, make decisions, and be open about what is needed. But now we can't talk about a tax rebate to anybody. We just barely got the capital budget to 500,000. It should be at 10% of our budget. 15 if it was my budget. I mean, I recommend 15, which would be $900,000. We don't have that yet.
Well, we have one budget paradigm, and it just, in this model, costs are just going to keep increasing, taxes will continue to go up. And I'm just saying, there are other budgetary models that we should be looking at to try and.
Agreed.
Okay. But so far, this council has not been willing to do that.
And
We
what have
did
you brought
it.
up
This
to
past
take a
year
look at?
has been a
What
massive
budget?
Regionalization,
success.
Sean.
Regionalization, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And how many times have we been told that that's not gonna save us money? How's that saving money?
Well,
We
I
spend
told
what-
you it could save you money.
How?
How?
You say regionalization.
You never brought us any, and I mean, but you've never brought us
Because you won't
anything.
give me information to, well, hopefully now that we have a new mayor and some oversight of the police budget, I'll do that. I will take you up on your offer,
You know what? I
Sean.
offered for you to bring a motion to the table, for you to be
You
the one to
can't bring a
lead that.
motion without the data. We need to be making data-driven
Then why did you
decisions.
bring that then? Why did you bring the data?
Because I don't have the data because you guys won't give it to me.
When you say it's gonna save us money, you know what it's costing us.
What do you
We already
asking
know
for?
what's in the budget for the police.
I have
What's-
told
What's
you.
this
I
regionalization
have
is
told
the
you
budget?
that
I
we
don't,
might save, we stand to save possibly over $1 million.
where's the hard numbers? We've never had hard numbers to
Because
look at.
I
Hold
can't.
on. You made a statement that we didn't give you information. What information exactly are you looking for?
I've asked for
You
crime
have
data
access
ever
to the
since I've
budget.
been on
Kenny
council.
McCoy and I and the mayor sat with you for 2.5 hours.
And you
laid
never
every-
offered anything after that, Dan. Nothing. I've seen nothing from you.
We
What
explained
did
it
you
to
want?
You know exactly what I
I
want.
really don't.
Okay.
Except the
Crime
regionalized. That's what
The
I want.
monthly crime data, the call data. Yes. What other communities report on their websites that we don't do any of? But I will in the future, now that we have a different mayor, we are going to look at some of that data. And I will put together the hard numbers for you. Because regionalization is not something you do overnight. It's not something you do with, emotion. You have to have the financial data to show what the advantage could be. Maybe there won't be once we look at the data. But the idea is we should be looking at these avenues to try and alleviate some of the pressure on our taxpayers. That's
Okay,
all.
so let me ask you this.
It's just an option.
So regionalization, who do you want to really regionalize with?
Anybody that will regionalize with us where it makes financial sense, Sean.
So it wouldn't matter if they border our
No.
community.
Yes, we have.
Wait.
Vanport, industry.
These are contracts. It's not the same thing.
Right, we control
It's
that.
regionalized.
It's regionalized. The
And
more
then
you lose your
it's not
revenue,
the same
you lose
thing.
your revenue. Now you're splitting your revenue. You don't, you
This is
lost
even-
700,000.
This is even,
How do you make up
losing
700,000 when you lose your
But,
revenue?
but regionalization. you
well,
should
let's
re-
look
if-
at the numbers first, okay? We'll start
All
on
I'm
that
saying
next
is,
year.
when you regionalize police forces, it should be communities that border one another.
Right.
We don't have a bordering community, other than the ones we already contract with, that are willing to take a look at regionalization. Bridgewater would not be someone that I would recommend that we regionalize with. Brighton Township, the mayor and I, a couple of years ago, did go, and we did meet with Brighton Township. They were not interested at that time. Is that something that you look at in the future? Absolutely, 100%. I think, with those two communities, for sure. But if you're talking about that Beaver County Regional Police Force, we don't border any of those communities. And for me, how are we saving money? And then if you take a look at their minutes of their meetings, which they don't post anymore, because I'm assuming it's the arguments that they get into about who's paying for the upkeep of the police cars and the gas and things like that. It's a big headache. And
They actually gave money back to each of the communities this past year.
and I would be
That's
willing
how
to
well
bet
they're-
that they're not as safe as our community.
Well, that's debatable.
Yeah,
That's debatable.
with police officers that I know that work for our community, I know we're safe.
Okay,
And
well,
I-
I'm just saying, I think that if we looked at different budgetary models, we might be able to make some inroads on some of our financial needs with a different system.
May I ask why you didn't bring this up prior to election when you were on the ballot?
I did.
This year?
Yes.
You brought it up. Well, I mean, she has brought it up previous meetings, but when it came out to election time, you got very quiet and didn't share about the regionalization, because I know that was a very hot topic when talking with constituents of Beaver, not just in my ward.
Oh, I've talked with constituents about it.
I have not heard from the same constituents,
Well, you're in a different ward.
but I spoke to constituents all around. I'm not just stuck in Ward 3, but I have spoken to many.
All right.
And before I let Officer McCoy speak, I do want to remind people too, I mean, we do have a collective bargaining agreement too.
Yes, that's absolutely true, Sean.
That's it. So, go ahead.
All right, I feel like I have to talk because I'm the president of the union. I have been for over 25 years. I was president of the Fraternal Order of Police. As a result of that, I've worked with communities, members in all these communities, the ones that you talk about. I know personally, since the results of the election, that Mrs. McKean, you reached out to the regional board to have a meeting, whether it's any fault of his or not. You said that you wanted to meet with, and the new mayor wanted to meet with the regional board without the knowledge of council.
I have not.
Okay.
That is not true.
I know for a fact, I was told by the chief of police down there, okay?
That is not true.
And I was
Why
told
didn't
that
the
they,
mayor run on this?
now listen, I'm not doing this to create an argument. What I'm saying is, as a result of that, that's not information that could be kept. Police talk. Now you have a police department that unfortunately for the new mayor-elect, they're looking at him sideways saying he hasn't even spoken to us and he wants to get rid of the police. That's their assumption.
That is, this is.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that's what you, I've never heard you say that. That's not what I'm saying that you think. But what I'm telling you is there's a way to do things and a way not to do things. There is always a time for a conversation, without a doubt. We've discussed the possibility of regionalization for decades. I've been a cop here 25 years. I've been a cop for 30 years. That side of the county talked about that on and off since the mid-90s. Several of the communities eventually did it because of the financial realities that they faced. Okay, and there's a good group of guys and they're doing well. I think for a community like Beaver, if you were to do it, it would have to make sense for Beaver. And I don't think that it makes sense to go over there. I think it would make sense to talk to Brighton Township and eventually go that direction. And as you know, because I know you also met with Lozier when he was in, and Andy, they told you there's two ways to do this.
Yeah.
One of them was regionalization, the
One is
other
contract.
way was contract.
Yep.
Something that we have been doing since 2002. And they said that's better for this community because we control the contract. We control our police department completely. It's all what you want to do. Huh?
And we're not charging enough.
That's another conversation. I get it, but what I'm saying is you're acting like we aren't open to this. It's the behind it's all this maneuvering behind it, and it's sending messages to people, and it's sending messages to the officers in this department. He works for the sheriff's department. Everybody over at the sheriff's department thinks that he doesn't want a police department here. Everybody up in Brighton Township thinks the same thing. And it's not because anything you said or did. It's because of these games that are being played. They have a real world impact. These are guys that have been working. I've been here for 25 years. He's been here for 27 years. Half the department has been here for a long period of time, and all that they're thinking is that you personally are trying to spearhead something to get rid of the police department.
Well, we're never going to be able to get rid of the police department. Public safety is a community's primary goal, all right? But the only way that we find out whether or not this could work for Beaver is to collect the data.
But you have to work together to do it.
But you folks aren't interested. That's
I
why
was in that
haven't-
meeting. I was very open to working with you. I talked to you. I asked you what you needed, what you wanted. There was no follow-up.
Well, I'll tell you what, when we start to get the financial
Yeah,
data
this
that
is
we
not a
need to
budget
make,
conversation.
I
to
understand.
make a decision.
I apologize. I felt the need. I had to bring it
I
up
agree
because
with you.
if we're going to do it, yes,
All right?
let's all work together and figure it out instead of this backdoor politics that is actually like I have a bunch of guys that are disgruntled, concerned, and worried, and talking about leaving the police department because of they don't know. There's an unknown out there.
Because of a rumor.
All right,
I understand it,
Hold
but
on,
you know how
hold on.
rumors work. That they cause people to make decisions that they otherwise
we're gonna
wouldn't.
go back to.
Budget
let's go back to the
committee.
budget. Yes, please. Thank you,
Okay.
Officer McCoy. Thank you, Peggy.
Any other questions from fellow council members?
Well, I'll try to bring this back in the,
Thanks.
with the police. I think people have seen me, I've obviously questioned about the overtime, so I'm happy to see the overtime come down. And, yes, so thank you, I appreciate that. Rob, I know Rob since, congratulations, Rob, and no Rob since, well, let's not get into that. I think sometimes it's a us versus them mentality, and it shouldn't be. I feel like somehow I've been labeled as, because of asking questions about the police department, that I've been labeled as anti-police, and that, to me, is typically not true. I mean, if you have a voting record, if you want to look at my voting record, go back and look at my voting record. I vote with the police just about all the time. It's what I have an issue with is budget, and it has nothing to do with the police. That has something to do with us here at the state. So that was my main argument with that stuff. So I hope the police don't think that there's one thing about that. And the other thing too about the budget is obviously as seems like we're taking sides, and I don't want that to happen because people are saying last year we made tough decisions and the plan is working out. But the idea of budgeting is you're supposed to be zero sum, right? So basically, here's what you're spending and here's what's coming in, and in an ideal world, they meet in the middle and it's zero and everybody's happy. But it's the process. It sounds like a simple theory, but the process of getting there is rather complex, as you guys. So what happens if you have too much expenses and not enough income? You have to raise taxes. There's no way around it. If you can't get to zero, if you have too much left over, then technically, relatively lower taxes. That's not our thing. We want to kind of build up our capital budget again. That's the reason for that. And so I understand all that, but I don't think it's fair that we go around and say, oh, we made hard decisions or the plan is working, because we're doing more with more. It's not like we've made any compensation or any compromise. There was a plan that was presented, that plan was passed, and we're going with that plan, and obviously the plan is working. But I mean, the plan was a very expensive plan, and it should be working. I mean, we should have this excess. That should all be fine. So I understand that, but let's be a little bit more humble in our proceedings.
Just a comment on that, just as a reminder, if you look at the implications of not raising taxes and giving tax rebates back, that is what led us to the situation that we ended up in the past 2 years.
First of all, that's just simply untrue.
That is not true.
It simply is untrue. It's gaslighting. And I expect better. Because the reason we didn't raise our taxes was we were already at a very extremely high tax rate. So we were up at 26 mils. We could go to 30 mils without having to, and we got there. So we were at the highest tax rate possible. So it wasn't like we had all this latitude to raise taxes. We had a very extremely short window.
Over 20 years.
So yeah.
No, there was an 8-year span with no tax increase and a 6-year span with no tax increase.
Sure. And what are you going to raise?
Tiny, minimal increments
What are you
would
gonna
have compounded over time and protected us from where we ended up last year. No, we did the math last year. That's how we got there.
Come on.
We did.
that is
Anyway,
true.
it is true.
We had
I want-
years to show.
Yes.
We had that.
So we would have been at 30, so when we need to go more, we would have been fine. Just saying that we would went to 30 early.
As long as we wouldn't have made decisions to spend the overage, and we would have kept money in the capital fund. Now, I can't comment
And once
on
again, we
that.
wouldn't have had any of that. So
You might have.
we're just hypothetical. I mean,
Alex, it's not hypothetical. The
Yeah,
numbers are the
it's
numbers. It's
plain
pretty
now.
black and white. Go back through the last 10, 20 years of the budget.
You're gonna raise what, you would have raised what? Middle was 50,000 at that point? So you have 200,000, that would have made us.
Over 20
Yeah.
years, that would have compounded to millions of dollars.
Yeah,
You would have spent it.
let's stay focused on the current budget then.
Yeah, okay, so if there's no other questions,
They won't hold council for that, that's ridiculous.
Come on.
I would appreciate it if you don't use
Come on.
words like that, because
Please.
it feels personal. You're feeling personal right now, so,
You're attacking me.
no, I'm not.
All right,
I'm
all right.
giving you the facts.
Ms. Stetler, the floor is yours, please.
And plus, we have to remember too, that when we got reassessed, when the assessment came through, it's supposed to be a net zero. We're supposed to collect the same amount. Well, we didn't. We didn't because people fought those reassessments, so we actually collected less. So our first year of the reassessment, we actually collected less than what we should have, than what we budgeted. So we were behind by a couple $100,000 because of the reassessment, because all the fights, and they continue to go on. So we don't even know what next year's is going to be because of those continue to get battled. So I mean, we were behind the eight ball another $100,000 because of the reassessment.
You raised it 9%.
All right. Anything else, Ms. Stetler? Mr. Hyman? Is there any other questions or comments on the budget?
I was going to respond to Mr. Kretschmar's question, because I do believe in making sure that people understand. We have talked about the borough manager's compensation for many years in many, many meetings. So none of this is new information. So as you know, over 11 years ago, this council asked Mr. Madgar to take on this role because they spent tens of thousands of dollars searching for a nationwide search for a borough manager, and that resulted in wasted money that didn't work out. Was it 4 borough managers in 2 years or something even worse than that? In the time that Mr. Madgar has held this role, and I am not one to believe that this is necessarily the right structure for the long term, but I have to point out the facts. He has taken, at the direction of the finance committee before me, the council before me, and at his own discretion, a significant pay cut versus other boroughs. In what you see in the borough budget this year is a correction that includes 2 things. It includes a clarity on an amount of money that has been paid to the borough manager's salary from the municipal authority. That is now in that line item. Before it was an internal adjustment. We have decided to put it in the line item in the spirit of transparency. That's part of the number. The other number, as I presented in the 5-year plan, is a correction to start to build toward what it will cost as part of the succession plan should Mr. Madgar retire or not have this role anymore. This position could cost this borough up to $50,000 to $70,000 more a year than we currently pay. We have to start to prepare for that in our budget, or else we will have another situation where that budget becomes an issue because we now have to hire someone who's going to charge $150,000 for this role. Okay? This is based on an analysis done by us on the finance committee with PSAB data. I looked at the Southwest Pennsylvania rates for median and the average min and max, and that's how we adjusted this rate. We are still far below where this will end up being at the end of his tenure with this council, or excuse me, with this borough. So I just wanted to respond to your questions. When you get into your new role, you'll be able to see whatever you want to see, I guess. But there's nothing, we're not doing anything wrong, we're not hiding anything. In fact, what you will see is that over the course of the last 11 years, he has saved this borough upwards of almost $1 million because of this. So I just want to, this was not a surprise. This has been in the budget. It was part of the 5-year plan.
Yeah, we have to be sensitive about some things when counseling. Obviously, employees are one of them. So we did discuss this, and as a council, and the last thing you want to do is be sure, the budget is a prediction, right? So we want to predict, and we want to come to closely predicting it as close as possible. So the last thing you want to do is add a bunch of things onto that budget after it's passed. So it's better for us to know ahead of time and guess at it. Now, maybe the motion on the table fails tonight, and then we're ahead on our budget a little bit more. But if the motion passes as it's written, we're right on budget. It's budgeted and it's in the budget, so we don't have to worry about it. Instead of, okay, we passed this position, now we have to go back and redo the budget to make the budget match again. It's just a lot simpler to kind of predict that that's going to happen. I don't think there was anything I don't think if we were being untransparent, I apologize, that was not the intent. The intent was we had to make the employee things as sensitive as possible, and we saw this coming, and we need to put it in the budget. Now it's just a prediction.
And so to clarify, he's gonna make 108 as police chief as well?
What do you think police chiefs make?
A full-time police chief?
All right, listen, we're not,
Versus a part-time? Are you working 80 hours?
we're not gonna get into this discussion.
Pretty damn close.
But we have the motion coming up, so, we can discuss it as council. Mr. Hyman.
That's it. If there's no other questions from council.
Thank you for all your time and putting into this.
Yes, you're welcome.
General government. Highways.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry, with general government. I did want to mention, there is an offer for LGA if people were elected, even though we don't have anybody truly newly elected, I guess Mr. Pickerton's the closest thing. It is open to anybody who'd like to take that class who got reelected, whether you've been on council for terms past or not. It's open to Mr. Thomas, I guess, would be the only really newly elected. But actually, ironically, I believe he actually took that class when he was on council before. So, but I would strongly encourage at least looking into it. I know it was a great thing to me. It used to be that everybody on council used to go through that training. Almost everybody on council used to go through that training. Now I think it's down to Mr. Dewa and myself. So it's yeah, I think it's worthwhile training. If you can do it.
I can do it as well.
I'll do it. Okay.
Yeah, Roberta thought you took it, I thought.
I took it too when I first got elected.
I think it's for mayors too, because I know John Fetterman was in our class,
Oh,
and he was just elected borough of.
Mayor of Braddock.
Mayor of Braddock.
Anything else for general government? All right, highways.
Anyway, I'm gonna defer to Mr. Mango.
I spoke to Dan Martone earlier, couldn't be here, and waiting on the Columbia gas reimbursement. We should have that this week, so we can go ahead and get Youngblood paid for the final invoice. In talking with Dan, we're specking out some streets already that we can try to get our bidding out February, March, and there'll be a new discussion with the new council coming up. We want to start to look at working on some alleys. This private, public alley, private. As far as I'm concerned, they're all borough alleys. I mean, if an alley's paved, it's paved, but if people can't access the alley behind their house because it's full of ruts, then they have to keep their cars on the main street. They have a perfectly good yard they can't use because they can't rip it out the bottom of the cars. And I was in some of the alleys today, and they're just a mess. Our guys are doing the best they can, but all we do is fill them. And a couple of hard snows and some rain and stuff. 60, 90 days later, they're running up again. So we need to try to come up with a program. I talked with Dan at length, and we'll talk to the new council and see if we can divert some of the highway money onto some of the alleys, but try to come up with, I'm not saying pave all the alleys, but maybe try to do some type of, I don't know what, Dan's gonna do some research, but we have a machine and we grade the alleys, but then Whitney, as you experience, and it puts waters in people's garages when we start to change. But, we gotta come up with something to try to get the residents some relief in some of these alleys, so we'll discuss that. That's all I have, Mr. Delo, on that. And that Columbia Gas meeting, Rick, is January.
Well, we're scheduling something in January, yeah.
And then what we'll do is we've always followed behind Columbia Gas on our paving, which is throwing us off and throwing our numbers in liquid fuels. We're doing paving, we're spending money. It appears it's money from the carryover from the previous year. So told Dan we're gonna try to get ahead of this paving, do what we feel we need to do in the borough, leave a little bit of money as a holdback. That way if Columbia Gas doesn't get their job done until, they don't start till spring sometimes, they're getting their jobs done October, November, and the borough's scrambling trying to do whole paving projects. We're gonna do what we need to do paving and get back to, springtime, summer paving. Some of it needs to be, over around College Square. We need to make sure we do that paving whenever school's out, so we'll discuss that. That's all I have on the highway.
Okay, public safety, code enforcement, recreation. Okay, we go to the manager secretary report.
So on the draft fee schedule, since the last meeting, the only thing added on that were attorney fees and liens under the lien letters. It's a recommendation from the solicitor. Karen, you want to?
You know, it's common, just, we don't file a lot of them, but whenever we file liens, that we include the cost of legal fees and the filing fees with the court cost on any of those, which is what I'm recommending you put on your updated fee schedule whenever it's approved next month.
Thank you. Also, nighttime parking enforcement will be suspended as of Monday the 15th, so the 15th will also be put out. We did take a little break with the snowfall, but it's just getting to be with the holidays and the snow and the elderly people trying to get around, so we want to get this word out for on the 15th, and then we'll start picking up back at the beginning of March. As Ms. Stetler said earlier, Murphy's Law, the generator at the fire department shredded itself, so we've gotten prices anywhere $20,000 plus. It's a diesel generator. We were going to go with a natural gas generator, which seems at face value would make sense. The problem is now you have the piping. You're taking the gas flow, and the furnace is going to, so you're talking a whole bunch of can of spiders. So we're going to start looking at just replacing it back with a diesel generator because all of the, everything's already in place. And I'll let you know what that costs, but before it worked, but it was old. I mean, the building itself is over 30 years old. But they definitely need to have a generator down there. You get a storm or something come through, and they need to go back in there at night, and there's no heat, but also the fire trucks are all laced up because they were using water. They need to get them thawed out and get them ready to go in case they have another call. So we'll have to put that as a priority. If it's within my spending threshold, we'll go ahead and do it, but I don't think it's going to be. Probably going to have to get 3 bids, and we're trying to deal with a CoStar vendor to circumvent and have to go out to the bid process because then we have to get a spec written up, advertised, and by the time that happens, it's going to be spring. We need to get them guys back up and running. So I'll keep you updated. I'll try to get it handled, and if not, I'll give everybody an update. Or if we need to do something that's under an emergency situation, we can deal with the solicitor to get it repaired. The other thing too, the other good news is the furnace down at Georgetown, Lansing. We got the new furnaces here. We took one of the old ones, the best old one, and put it at Georgetown because they put a lot of the plowing equipment in there, and just to keep it at 50 degrees, just to keep everything from freezing up. And that just went. So we're using a CoStar vendor that we used at the Pool House Spur out of Cranberry. And we're not going to go back with a furnace. We're just looking at, you've seen units maybe the size of this table. They just mounted the ceiling. There's no duct work. It's just to get the draft and the chill out of the building. So again, that happened. If you remember last year at this time when the fire station was, the gas line, the gas tube through the ceiling was spitting out flames. So that was last year's event rated budget time when we had to have the emergency repairs and when the sewage pipe downstairs burst and flooded the basement. So this was your Merry Christmas on these 2 items. It just seems December, as soon as this cold hit, it just hits us with stuff that wasn't anticipated. So anyway, that falls. That the one we got today, the one bid on the furnace was I think between $6,000 and $7,000 for the unit that just mounts up with no duct work. So we're gonna hopefully going through the CoStar vendor, it'll be at least less than that. So we'll keep council and everybody else updated on that. Reorganization meeting is going to be Monday, January 5th, but it's at 7:30, so it's not at 7 o'clock, it's at 7:30, because Garen has two other municipalities to handle that night. Right, no requests, are coming in, but, just continuing the process to furnish the information as it comes available. And, so Sean, this would be on for you to cancel the December work session. It's scheduled for the 23rd. That's not my call, that's council's call, I just wanted to remind you. That's all I have.
Okay. Any questions? Okay. President's report, I have something to mention later. Engineer, we have anything, I'm sorry, man. Thank you. Oh, thanks.
Well, I just want to, again, thanks everybody for the kind remarks shown, for the presentation and the kind remarks. And Alex, he's right, everything we do have some spirited discussion as well as all this council. But at the end of the day, we all are hearts in this town, and we may not agree, but we do what we think is right for our community. And anyway, thank you for the kind remarks, and I appreciate having the opportunity to serve this community, and would be available to serve in any other fashion at any time. But I wanted to also now, unfortunately, I didn't get to comment on new Corporal Rob Turian, but even though he's not here, I want to say I'm proud that I've been with on this board since he was hired, when Rob was hired, and he's been a wonderful policeman. It's a long-deserving promotion to corporal, and I'm proud that happened while I was still here. So thanks for making that happen tonight. And then on top of that, Amy and Alex, I'd be remiss there leaving the same time, but thank you for your service.
You're still in our thunder, Mayor.
Thank you for your service, Amy, countless times with the budget, and along with Todd. No, you're not leaving, but you two worked unbelievable amount of time on this. Nobody knows how much time they put in this budget, and they take it, to heart. So I really, they deserve a lot of credit for being diligent, along with our financial person, Andy Kennedy. They worked hand in hand with Andy and the staff and everybody else. This is not a one-person operation. It is not, and that's what makes our community great. And I hope it continues to be that way. And people can have questions and disagreements, but this is a great community, and it's been an honor. So thank you for your service, and your speech. And that's, and Sean, thank you. It's been a pleasure serving here, and that's all I have.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Okay, engineer, do we have anything from solicitor?
There's one thing that I'm going to recommend that we add to the agenda. We have received a request from a property owner at 223 Beaver Street to remove a sugar maple tree. The property owner wants to do this at their own expense, and they're looking for authorization from council in order to do that. The Shade Tree Commission has recommended that the tree be pruned rather than removed. So with council's blessing, once we get down to the motions, whether we do it first or whether we do it last, I would seek a motion to add to the agenda the decision as far as allowing or disallowing the sugar maple tree at 223 Beaver Street be removed or not from council. If it's added to the agenda, then council can then vote on it.
But with the proviso that they replace the tree, correct?
Yeah, I believe the motion, if council would want to entertain this, I believe sort of where council's at on this would be to allow the tree to be removed, but the motion include that language that they work with the Shade Tree Commission to replace that tree.
Thank you.
I'll put the motion forward if we need it.
Yes, if you want to do it now, because we're going to be heading into motions next anyways, it would be, first we would need a motion to add to the agenda, a motion to allow the property owner at 223 Beaver Street to remove the sugar maple tree, and to require the property owner to work with the Shade Tree Commission replace the tree with a tree approved by the Shade Tree Commission. So first, we need a motion to add that to the agenda. This will be a vote, all in favor to add it to the agenda.
Aye.
Okay, and now the actual underlying motion, which Rebecca, I'll give this to you. This will be the motion to allow the property owner at 223 Beaver Street to remove the sugar maple tree and to require the property owner to work with the Shade Tree Commission to replace the tree with a tree approved by the Shade Tree Commission. Todd seconded. This will be an all in favor.
All in favor? Any opposed? All right.
Just a quick comment. Who would pay for that replacement?
Yeah, the property owner would.
Municipal authority.
Pay for everything else.
They can work with the trade chief, they have like discounts or.
Is the borough, won't the borough dig the hole?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we are moving on to, do you have anything else?
No.
Anything for the solicitor? All right. Move forward. At the end of the motions, after motion number 8, I have something I need to discuss, and then we'll adjourn after that. Okay? We won't adjourn after motion number 8.
Call an executive session for that.
No, it'll be a public comment, yeah.
You need to mention.
Yeah, I guess I should, for the purpose of the minutes, reflect that we had an executive session prior to the meeting for the purposes of discussing litigation matters.
Okay, going along with the first motion is the Civil Service Commission resignation.
I move that Beaver Borough Council accept the resignation of Ryan Duran from the Civil Service Commission effective immediately.
Can I get a second for that, please? All right, Todd, thank you. Any questions or comments? All right, moving forward with the vote, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Our second motion, Civil Service Commission member appointment. Mr. Bickert.
Based on the recommendation of the Civil Service Commission, I move that the Beaver Borough Council appoint Amy Shattuck to the Civil Service Commission to fulfill an unexpired term ending December 31, 2030.
Can I get a second for that motion, please? Thank you. Amy, any questions or comments? All right.
Is she here?
No.
No. Do we know what experience, what she brings to the role, why she wants it? Anything?
She wants to serve her community.
I see. Well, Mr. Delo gave us some background on the people coming onto the Municipal Authority Board, and I know we have a very short window to fill these positions. I don't know her, I just wondered if you had any. One sentence, two sentences?
I don't know. I know of her. I know of her husband. They've lived in town a long time, but I don't know. I think she lives on the River Road area. She was
You know her,
recommended.
Mitch?
She's a teacher, lives on River Road.
And I was gonna say, she was recommended by the civil service, we're going off civil service's recommendation. I mean, I know the name, but I can't comment one way or the other. But make your words, I mean, thank you. Again, civil service just recommended.
I believe Jason has spoken with her,
Yes,
and they've made that decision as a crew.
yes.
Any other questions or comments? Let's move forward with the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We voted down number 3. Number 4, the 2026 fee schedule.
Move that Beaver Borough Council approve and adopt the attached Beaver Borough fee schedule for 2026.
Can I get a second? Thanks. All right. This room's a little light. Any questions or comments? Any questions or comments? All right. Let's move forward with the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. 2026 schedule of Beaver Borough meetings. Mr. Andres. That's your last one.
My last motion is near and dear to my heart. I move that the Beaver Borough Council approve and adopt the attached 2026 schedule of Beaver Borough meetings and authorize advertising.
Can I get a second for that motion, please? Second. All right, thank you, Bill. All right, any questions or comments? All right, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Thanks, everyone.
All right, motion number 6, resolution to fix the 2026 tax rate.
I am pleased to move that Beaver Borough Council approve the attached resolution of 2025-2026, fixing the tax on real estate property in fiscal year, resolution 2025-05, fixing the tax on real property in fiscal year 2026 at a rate of 5.58, which is no change from 2025.
Can I get a second for the motion, please? Thank you, Ms. Stetler. Any questions or comments? Going once, going twice. All right, let's move forward with a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
One,
Opposed?
moi, yes.
Okay. All right, so motion carries. All right, the 2026 general fund budget. Ms. Stetler.
I move that the Beaver Borough Council adopt the 2026 Beaver Borough General Fund budget as advertised, including the approval of non-union employee wages, the borough manager's compensation, and the police chief's compensation as listed in the budget.
Can I get a second for the motion, please?
Second.
Thank you. I'm scared. All right. Any questions or comments? All right, let's move forward with a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I abstain.
Okay, let's do a roll call vote. Okay?
Mr. Andres,
Yes.
Mr. Bickerson,
Yes.
Mr. D'Lo,
Yes.
Mr. Hyman,
Abstain.
Ms. Lauren Kinjeski,
Abstain.
Ms. McKean,
No.
Mr. Snowden,
Yes.
Ms. Stetler.
Yes.
I understand Todd's reason to abstain.
I think both of them, I'll speak, both of them have family members who are affected by this budget. So that's why the two of them are abstaining.
Is Roberta on?
No, that's Andy.
Oh, that's Andy.
Okay. Motion carries. All right, the last motion is the creation of Assistant Borough Manager position and appointment. Ms. Stetler.
I am pleased to move that Beaver Borough Council create the position of Assistant Borough Manager with an annual salary of $70,720 and appoint Rebecca Phillips to this position effective January 1st, 2026.
Can we get a second for the motion?
I'll second.
All right, thank you, Whitney. All right, questions and comments? Yep.
I have not seen a job description for this position, and I do object to the fact that we haven't been provided with a job description, nor has the position been advertised. For a position of that salary, I really think that we should have advertised the position. I'm all for promoting from within, but I feel like it just can't be an inside job. This just doesn't give the appearance of transparency and anything else except nepotism. I'm sorry, but that's my feeling.
Okay. Any others?
Does this say this is an exempt position, is that right?
Yes.
So it's a management exempt position from overtime.
Correct.
Yes.
What about taking minutes of the meeting?
I mean, I think that's something that can be discussed. But generally speaking, you're right, an exempt position is not a position that otherwise is eligible for any type of benefits aside from what's listed in their salary.
We used to have a borough manager, John Barrett, that took minutes, and that's why I was asking if we had thought about whether that's the case or not. Because it would show up on our,
We-
you know,
We do have the job description and it's in there, I think.
we did have a job description years ago when we did offer an assistant borough manager position to one person from out of state. And he turned it down because we weren't paying enough.
Yeah, that
interviews, that's easy to say that, but it's a complex, if you don't need to do that, it's a complex thing. They wound up appointing a couple, one was, turned out that, they had, we were ready to hire them and they had a criminal record. And it just, it's something, it's easy to make those suggestions, but also today's world, especially in corporate, even before I retired, the whole thing is about retaining employees that are existing. There's a big cost to bringing another person in and getting them up to speed. So right now, it's more about retention than to try to go out. That's the last resort when you can't fill jobs within. So I think it's something you got to make the right decision for the borough. Not having sat through that with a council person in the past that pushed all that extra expense through, and it turned out it was a negative thing overall.
In the job description that we discussed, as we were doing the analysis for the salary, we have in here provide backup administration support to council, mayor, and borough committees. Within that, I assume is meeting minutes, but maybe that's an assumption. Needs to be clarified.
And I think it wouldn't be in good spirit to go out and interview people and have people miss work and come in here. And you could call it the assistant borough manager, you could call it whatever you want. We all know, everybody in this room, whatever, it's a promotion. It's a promotion. Is this person being promoted just because she's related to somebody? Absolutely not. She's being promoted because she's well qualified. And it's part of the succession plan. If we're not doing that on the police end, we're not doing that on the, then I'm not doing my job either as council. If you have somebody here, been here 36 years and missed birthdays, Christmases, and holidays, and she's willing to do that as well on the manager's end to put stuff with young kids. So I'm just saying, you have somebody right here in front of you, why wouldn't you stay loyal to that person and have that person that's willing to work for you? And she's already demonstrated. Again, it's not like she just started 6 months ago, like, hey, we're gonna hook you up. None of that. That's right. Everybody in this room knows that she's very well qualified and she has the heart to do the job. So I feel that it's a really slap in the face to even go down a different road. And what type of loyalty does that show to a young person that wants to stay here and work?
Well, even beyond loyalty, if you just look at the facts. I mean, Ms. Fields has done an exemplary job. She's gone above and beyond the call of duty in her current position, and it just seemed like this was a natural progression of the direction the borough is going, was to promote her and create this spot and promote her. It's nepotism, nothing to do with it. She is well qualified, and other than a coincidence, that's about as close as it comes. I mean, she's well known throughout the county as being on top of things, and anytime I've needed anything, it's done before I can even ask. So I think he's done an outstanding job.
I concur with Alex. I take a little offense to nepotism. That is the last thing. And I personally witnessed people try to come and take her away from our community. And we're fortunately that she's loyal, that she's staying. But you can only be loyal so much. We need to be a little bit loyal to employees, especially her work is exemplary. I'm with up to the office a lot with work with her, and
Then it wouldn't
I think
hurt
it's a
to
right thing.
advertise the position and,
Well, it does. You bring people in and waste their time when we have someone right here that's and again, if you go into the corporate world, Margaret,
I have.
I'm telling you,
Every job I've gotten, I've applied for it, I've met the qualifications.
You want to have the people within that are trained. Going out to hire is a mistake.
All right. Well, first, thank you. Is there anyone else who wants to?
Just another quick comment. We got two questions on the table, I think. One is, do we need to advertise this position? The answer is, on that is no, we do not need to advertise. We can appoint people directly. The second question is she qualified for this position? And that's what you've just been discussing. And my concern was that she's very much aware that there's going to be, it's a 24/7 job with no overtime. And, in the past the office workers sometimes when you increase that the salary, the equivalent non-exempt salary, it sounds like a big win, but at the same time too, you end up with a lot more duties and responsibilities that you hadn't had before, and I'm sure you're aware that that's what's gonna happen with this position.
Like, I could say in my experience, anytime that I've contacted Rebecca, whether it's during hours, after hours, on weekends, she's responded.
I was just gonna say that she's already taken on the role of this position, answering phone calls or texts, something I see happening, she gets everyone on, Sunday night during church, and she's responding as soon as she gets out.
Question is, does she put in for overtime for
No.
that?
No.
Nope.
And that's the point I was making.
No, I understand. I knew where you're going, and I can speak to that because we talk, we're on the phone Sunday at 8 9 o'clock in the morning. If I'm on the phone with Rebecca, I'm on the phone with Debbie because she's passing a message because she's tied up with church. So the communication's there, and you guys, a lot of people on council and even the residents, it's great to watch the Super Bowl. You sit down, you flip the TV on, when it's done, you shut the TV off and you go to bed. But the weeks of preparation prior to the Super Bowl and after, they're there setting up, no different than light up night and all these functions. Between Kenny, Rebecca, and you guys, everybody shows up to light up night and walks around, wow, this is really nice. Car crews, this is really nice, but don't understand the hours and prep that it goes to pull this stuff off. It just doesn't happen. The lights going up, the highway guys doing their thing. It's a team. People just think, oh, this just happens. No, it doesn't happen. It's because of people like her that are willing to take that on, and the police, and even some of the council members are very active on different things too. So it's again, I think she knows what she's getting herself into. Like Whitney said, she's already been doing it, and not getting my endorsement lightly. I can retire at any time. So all I'm trying to do is line the borough up with efficiency between the promotions we've done with Rebecca. And after 36 years, borough's been good to me over 36 years, and I understand that. All I'm trying to do on the backside is make sure, how would that be if I just picked up, and then some people would be really happy and left. And then you're gonna go out and do a search for police chiefs, you're gonna go out and go do this, and you're gonna go do searches for people. Because if I go, there might be other people that go, and then you have shambles. And this borough has had 2 mayors and 4 police chiefs. 2 mayors in the past 70+ years and 4 police chiefs in the last 100 years. That's not just something that we throw a dart every time we just have turnover. We don't have it here. And all policemen have been here a long time. We got probably 400 or 500 years of experience just in the police department. So I think that's what we're trying to do is set this up. And take it and don't call it the assistant manager. Call whatever you want. But at the end of the day, the person needs to be recognized and some type of bump up for what they've done and what they're going to continue to do. But they're actually dedicating their life to this borough moving forward. They understand they're going to get that call. The plow broke, Christmas Eve, something happened at the fire department. She gets that. And she's doing it now. And I'm involving her in this decision making. Not because I don't know what the answer is, I know what the decision is. But getting her to understand this, and she does. And if she didn't do it, I wouldn't be sitting here and we wouldn't have motion 8 on the table. So.
And building the relationships, handing those off.
Yes.
Which is critical.
John, if I might comment?
Yeah.
Sure.
Of course, this is Andy, been listening to the conversation there, and I think many of you there on council know that in my consulting work, I've worked with a number of boroughs, I've worked with school districts in western Pennsylvania, Beaver County, and one of the things that I would like to speak to with respect to Rebecca's qualification is I have noticed over the time that she has been here that this type of role, which commonly focuses on a person's administrative and management skills, which I think clear understanding of all of the various kinds of financial components that go into the everyday management of the borough. I can tell you that Rebecca has that. I've watched her, and I would have absolutely no hesitation in recommending particularly that aspect of her capabilities.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments? Okay. Let's move forward with the vote. We'll do a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Andres?
Aye.
Yeah. Mr. Bickerton?
Yes.
Mr. D'Lo?
Yes.
Mr. Heinman?
Abstain.
Ms. Lauren Kinjeski?
Yes.
Ms. McKean?
No.
Mr. Snowden?
Yes.
Ms. Stetler?
Yes.
May I ask a question, please? Bill Egley, Ward 3, is the position that's being vacated, is that position going to be closed?
Didn't hear.
The position that's being vacated, is it going to be closed?
Yeah.
Yeah, will not be true.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? All right. So I said I had an announcement, and I know this will make some extremely happy. But they say all good things come to an end at some point. So at the reorganization meeting, there will be a motion with my resignation as council member for the second ward and council president. You know, there's been changes in my life that have, you know, made me focus in other areas. In particular, too, some of the stress that has occurred over the last couple of years. One individual continuing to try to communicate with my supervisor in my profession that I do things inappropriately has added to that stress. And I felt as though it was no longer reasonable for me to continue. I also think, too, having served 12 years on council, that at some point it's time for somebody else. And I'm hopeful that whoever fulfills my seat has the same passion for the second ward in our community as I did. But there are some thank yous I want to go through, and I hope you'll be patient with all of this. Rick Sprecher, you know, I can't thank you enough. I think you do a tremendous job. I know it's a hell of a job to do, and I know you get a lot of criticism. But you're part of the big reason why our community continues to look like it does. And you know, I can't thank you enough for your dedication to our community, for the information that you've provided us over the years in different scenarios. And you know, thank you so much.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Also, Rebecca, I wish you all the best. You're a young lady. Don't ever let anyone else tell you you can't do something. You can do it, and go do it. You have that skill set, and the most important piece of that skill that you have is that you build relationships. You build positive relationships, and that's a strength of yours. Don't ever lose that. Serving the second ward for the past 12 years has been nothing short of an honor and privilege. To be entrusted by the residents, not once but repeatedly, is something I'll never take lightly. And being given the opportunity to eventually sit in the president's seat was truly humbling. Following the footsteps of Mike D'Lo, who taught me a lot about just being a council member from when I took over. Dan DeCeter, who I used to sit next to, God rest his soul. You know, I was a deer in headlights, and I had Dan DeCeter sitting next to me, giving me advice along the way. A lot of times he couldn't hear what I was saying, but it was great to sit next to him for those years. The other person, you know, serving as president, I always think of is a guy that was like a father figure to me, Mr. Jim Foster, who served many years as council president. Spent many nights at his place because I was great friends with his son. So it was just truly an honor. I also want to say that I truly enjoyed meeting and working with and building a real friendship with you, Mitch. Thank you so much. You know, I can remember one of my first meetings as president, There was a misunderstanding that you and I had, but what I respected about that whole thing was the fact that you and I were able to talk about that right after the meeting, and we've been strong ever since, Mitch, and I thank you for your commitment to all the work that you've done for the borough, and it's wonderful to call you a friend, so thank you. Alongside that, I've appreciated the opportunity to work with my fellow council members. Most of us worked extremely well together. We didn't shy away from tough decisions, and we consistently pushed to move this borough in a positive direction. Not everyone agreed, and not every vote was easy, but that's what public service is like, right? I mean, it takes courage, conviction, and the willingness to stand by what's right, even when it's not popular. And I think we did that, especially last year. It was tough. It was also an absolute honor to serve with our mayor, Tom Hamilton. I can't say any more than I've said. Tom, you've been a great friend, a great neighbor, and you're a tremendous mayor. So thank you. Working with our solicitor, Garen, that was a privilege. Your professionalism and the commitment to our community, having, you're always dependable, you're always steady, and you always got us in the right direction. And I will tell you, having the opportunity to serve on council, work in a couple of different school districts, I'd be surprised to see if there was a stronger solicitor. I think you're the best. So thank you. And lastly, something that means more to me than most will ever understand. It's an honor and it's been a privilege to serve along Dan Magar. We came up from high school, and I would not say that we were model students because we weren't. And you know what, though? At the same time, we were also able to serve together in the United States Marine Corps. And then we were able to serve this community. That journey, that brotherhood, and that shared purpose will always mean everything to me. For a kid who grew up in a rundown apartment with his mother who was working for minimum wage for most of his life, I've been shaped by people who took the time to guide me, teach me, and believe in me. I have no regrets, not one. I've given this borough everything I had, and I'm proud to have worked with all of you in what we've accomplished. So, and then I also want to thank every person that's ever supported me with a vote. Thank you for trusting me with your voice, and thank you for letting a kid who started with very little and have the privilege to serve this community he loves so deeply. I was not a typical Beaver kid. With that, Mayor-elect, I wish you all the best. I'm hopeful that you'll continue to work with this team. It's a great team. I know sometimes there'll be disagreements, but at the same time, I know that each and every one of these council members who will still be seated on council have a love and passion for this community like you do, and I sincerely wish you all the best. With that, I thank you.
Yeah, I think we'll put on the agenda for reorganization.
Cancel the meeting for.
Yeah, we have to do that.
Well, I mean, you said the meeting, so I think that's what we've approved the budget. I don't believe there's a need to meet on December 23rd. Is anyone from council who believes that